Hi, my name is Leslie Todisco. I'm a teacher here at Puzzlebox Academy. I've actually been teaching here for about 4 years now. I'd like to specialize in K through 1. For the 4 years, I've kind of been in that range. I've done a little bit of preschool, some kindergarten, some first grade, but this last year I did K/1, which was a nice change. And then for my math, I did upper level first grade. So we had like a split between the first and the kindergarten, and I had the faster track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you pretty much some of the things that we go through and how we do our math program here. So this is going to be something called board work. Every classroom has it. We all do it about the same way. So the first thing we do with board work is we have very clear expectations and we go over it with the kids. The kids know it. I can say, what are the expectations? And my kids can tell me before I even do my lesson. The reason why they know the expectations is because we play a game, teachers versus class. So every time they do what they're supposed to do, I usually wait about every minute or so, and if they're all on signal, they're all getting points. And if they get to 10 points before I do, they get a 5-minute break. So I like to break it down to where they have more breaks and it's available by earning it than me sit here for 30 minutes and teach them straight and they're off into some other land or not even retaining what I'm doing. I find this way they stay on task and we get through our work a lot faster. So what I put up here was a cumulative assessment. So we did a week 9 through 12 and it was asking like write the missing number. So they obviously would have to find that the missing number was 2. Here it was 1 more than, so we put the number line for a visual for some of our kids. So I would say, all right, everybody, which number is 1 more than 5? I'd give them time, think about it, get ready. On my signal, everybody would answer. And then on this one, they basically would have to count the counters, put the right number, and then they would have to find the answer. So this is how we teach every lesson. So we go into our curriculum, which is Number Worlds. We pick out the important things that we need to teach them, and we get them through the curriculum as efficiently as possible. So we're trying to catch a lot of our kids up. So we're trying to make sure that we don't just go step by step by step or week by week by week. We find the important key things out of the chapters or the weeks, and we attack those. So basically they would take this test afterwards, which would be the CUME test, and there's a grid for that. So after they take the test, we fill out a grid and it'll tell you, so it's like it'll have the 4 questions. So if there was 3 questions on the test, it'll say, write the missing number, more than 1, write the number story. And if they missed one, I'd know exactly what kind of problems we'd have to work on, and then we'd go back and we'd work on them because I don't let them pass out of my assessment until they get 100% because I don't want to leave them with more gaps than they had before they came in. So basically, fill out the grid, whatever they're missing, we reteach in a small group. If they all got it or some of them got it, then they would stay in their whole group, their big group, and they would move on with the curriculum. So basically they're with me for the 30 minutes doing this kind of stuff. So there's worksheets that correlate with this that are in our curriculum. So usually I teach it, we workbook it, teach it again, we workbook it as many times as we need to until it's accurate, and then we test. Sometimes it only takes a day. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks. It just depends on how they're getting it and how I have to find out. I have to rearrange the curriculum or the language for them to get it. We also have a couple different programs. So we have something called Morningside that's here. And Morningside came in and basically beefed up our math. So they added a bunch of stuff that they found were gaps or holes or things that we could do better. And we learned how to run these programs. So one of them is called CSAY. So it's basically a list of a bunch of numbers and they have to say them as fast as they can. So they have a 1-minute timing. Some of them have to go down further. So some of my kids are 30-second timing, some of my kids are 15-second timing. It all depends on their attention. So some of my kids can't pay attention for the full minute. They're off track. So they're at a 15-minute timing and they're doing as many as they can. So they're going to see the number and they're going to say it to us and we count each correct response as a correct answer and the wrong responses as a negative. But then we take that data and we analyze it And then we figure out what they're missing. So say it's a 3-digit number and they're always getting the tens wrong. So we'll pull it out, we'll practice it until they're accurate, and then we make sure they're fluent in it by testing them on the CSA timings. The kids really like doing the timings because if they meet their goals, they earn. Like they earn something preferred. They earn the iPad, the Kindle, they get to play with their friends, treasure box, 5-minute break, like whatever they choose. Some of them like to color. Pokemon's real big in my classroom, so they want to color Pokemon coloring sheets. So basically these are things that they really enjoy doing. This they enjoy because they can beat me, and that they enjoy because they earn. So that was the one timing that we have. And then we have another one that's called new facts. So this breaks addition and subtraction down. So the first new facts is 0. So it either equals 0 or it's subtracted or added by 0. So it's basically teaching them what 0 means. So then there's a goal for that. So then the goal for that is 50 to 60 per minute. And if they can get it right and they get that many, then they move on to new facts 2. If they can't write the numbers, I'm not going to ask them to write the numbers. I'm going to have them say the numbers to me. So some of my kids turn that into a CSA. So they see the problem, they just tell us the answer. That's all different interventions that we offer here to make sure your kids as successful as possible with what they have, not something I want them to have. There's also a grid for that. So the grid for that is they get a star every time that they complete one, and they really enjoy that. They can either put their sticker up by themselves or they star it, and I'll show you a picture of that. And basically they just really enjoy putting the stars up there and the stickers up there. It makes them happy, and it's something that they like to do because it's their accomplishment. Another timing that we do is a tool skill timing, especially in my class. So it's writing 0 through 9. So basically I put 0 through 9 on the top of the paper, and they have to practice writing it. So I give them a minute timing, they write them as fast as they can, and then we pretty much prescribe what's wrong or how we can help. So some of my kids will write a 5 backwards. If I notice that they're writing and that's backwards every single time, I'm going to just pull this out and work on this to fix this before we move on. Or like a 3. So some of my kids make a loopy 3. So we want to take that loop out because it takes more time to write the numbers. They're not going to be successful in the new facts or the other programs that we have until we get this under control, because they're never going to be able to beat the time or get the time and the fluency. That takes a lot longer than just this. That is the tool skills writing. So I give them, so basically the board is blank, and I do a lesson on that before I even start to time them to make sure they can tell the difference between a good one and a bad one. So like, is this a good 5? Yes or no? Everybody get ready? No. Why is it not a good 5? Because it's backwards. The 5 needs to start over here. And a lot of my kids can tell me that now, whereas before they couldn't tell me that. Another program in the older classes is something called DMP. So it's diagnostic and prescriptive, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So we're diagnosing a problem and we're prescribing something to fix it. So they give the test at the beginning of the year, and it shows you exactly what skills they're missing. And instead of in the older classes writing like a 0 through 9, or sometimes the new facts, they get out of that quick, we put them into this DMP, and it just attacks their gaps. It helps us and gives us lots of work to put into those gaps and make sure they're successful so they're able to move on. Because if you can't, say you have a problem and you can't regroup, but I'm asking you to do 3-digit addition, how are you going to, if I don't know that you can't regroup and I give you these problems, you have to be taught how to regroup first. So it'll start with just 2 digits and 1 digit and work its way up. It's basically a confidence builder for them, because a lot of them just feel like they can't do it. They have been unsuccessful doing what they're doing for so long that they're used to it. Some of my kids shut down. I ask them a question and they shut down because they don't know, and I have to reassure them, it's my job to teach you this. You are not expected to know this. If you take my job away from me, I'm just going to leave. There's no reason for me to be here. And then they just laugh at me and, oh, you're funny, Miss T, and end up doing their work. But that's what it is. It's just, that's my job, is to teach them what they don't know. So basically each math block is 90 minutes a day. The whole school does math from 12:30 to about 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is usually when we do dismissal. So it's nice because if I'm having a problem with something, one of my kids, I can take them to another teacher during math while my aides are running the timings and say, look, this is just not working. How would you do this? Or what works for yours? Or what am I missing? And it's nice because we can all do that with each other because it's the same block all day. So we do 30 minutes per group of instruction with me, 30 minutes at the 2 tables with the aides doing their timings, and then the 30-ish minutes on the 0 through 9 timing, because in my class, that's a tool skill that's really important because you write numbers the rest of your life. So I do the instruction on it, and then we do the timings, and that's pretty much how math goes. Like I said, like Morningside has beefed it up so much to where we can see so much growth in them, and there's never downtime because there's always something to fill their time with, something positive or productive, or to keep them moving, because we essentially want to fill the gaps. I don't want them in my class all year. Some of my kids are out of my class in 9 weeks, 18 weeks. We usually check every 9 weeks to see if they're ready to go, and if they are, I can tell admin, and they're like, okay, show me, prove it to me. And if I can support the data with what I'm saying, they can go on to the next class before the year is over. So that's my end game. I try to get them in and out as fast as I can, because this is not the end point for them. They need to go on further, and we need to continue the education. Thanks for spending the time listening about math, and if you guys have any questions, you can make sure you shoot them to admin, and they'll get them to us, and we can answer them for you. I hope to see you guys soon, and for those of you that I haven't met in person, I hope to have a conversation soon. Have a good one.